What is the ceiling for the Chicago Bears in 2023? Basically, if everything breaks right, what or how far possibly can the Bears go? I want to talk about that today with you guys. What is going on, y'all? Faiz Sports, so I'm back at it with another video talking, of course, from NFL here to talk about the Chicago Bears. So if you're a Bears fan, please hit the big red subscribe button down below. Please make sure to follow me on my social media platforms, guys. As always, hit the bell icon so you're notified every time I drop a new video. All right, so I've already made my record prediction for the Bears for this upcoming season. I broke it down when the schedule is released. I see the Bears finishing 8-9. Okay, which would be maybe good enough to potentially get a wild card, maybe, or somewhere around there. And again, it's still a lot better than their record last year, which was 3-14. So it's a pretty sizable jump here. But I wanted to just think, hey, if everything breaks right, like how far can this Bears team go? And I was like, should I do best case, worst case scenario? But then again, nobody wants to talk about the worst case because we dealt with that last year. The worst case scenario was the worst record in the league. And, of course, you get the number one overall pick, which wasn't that bad. So let's talk about best case scenario. Now that we know the Bears are trying to win games and not actively tank. And to me, the first place I got to start with is not even just the division. It's the conference. Because to me, the NFC is such a weak conference compared to the AFC. It's not even funny, right? Because to me, there's really like two teams where you're like, they're head and shoulders above everybody else. And then after that, it's like you can have a conversation. The two teams are the Eagles, who obviously went to the Super Bowl last year. And then I would say the 49ers. All right, those are the two teams. Head and shoulders above everybody else. Insane defensive lines, good offensive lines. Obviously quarterback play. We know the 49ers, their quarterback situation is a little bit of a question mark. We'll see if Brock Purdy's back, but Jalen Hurts is a beast. They have good running games, like defense. Like, you get my point here, right? As a totality of a team, those are the two powerhouses in the NFC, and you can right now pencil them in as both of them as top two seeds. All right. After that, now we start having discussions. So there's really 5 spots left, right? After that, so because you have 7 seeds, including the wild card. And so I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, fine. Taking a look down the list here, Cowboys are probably better, right? And they will definitely be a playoff team next year. After that, I really struggle at that point because we're talking about teams like the Seahawks, the Rams, the Cardinals, the Vikings, the Lions, the Falcons, the Panthers, the Bucks, Giants, Saints. Like, yeah, some of these teams made the playoffs last year. The Giants did, but do you see them repeating it? Hard for me to say that. So really, I'm saying it's 2 teams that are locked in. Another team, the Cowboys, probably locked in as well. And you got really 4 other spots left. So that means the conference is kind of wide open here. Wide open here. So that I wanted to point out because I really feel like in the NFC, it's a totally different conversation than the AFC. If the Bears were in the AFC, like, we're not even talking about playoffs probably. Like, or it's very difficult to have that conversation with the Bills, the Bengals, the Chiefs, etc., etc. You get my point. NFC, totally different conversation. Now, let's talk about the division, right? We got the Lions, we got the Vikings, we got the Packers. Well, Aaron Rodgers, the bad man, is gone, right? We know that. And so the Packers are not the same team. I very much have a hard time believing that Jordan Love in, next season is going to be anywhere near as good as Aaron Rodgers. Even if he's solid, he won't be Aaron Rodgers good. And so the Packers won't be as good. And so they don't scare me anymore. The Lions won the division last year, absolutely, and they should be the favorites. But again, it is the Detroit Lions. Can we really count on them to have sustained success when they haven't won a playoff game in over 20, 30 years? Probably not. And then the Minnesota Vikings, who have kind of stripped apart their roster, right? They lost Dalvin Cook. They've let go of some pass rushers. Like, this team, coming off a 13-win season, really did not do much to improve themselves. And so I think they took a step back. And so the team that I think is the most improved in the division are the Bears, because you upgraded your running back spot, you upgraded your receiver spot, you upgraded your tight end spot, you upgraded your defensive line, you upgraded your offensive line, you upgraded your secondary, everywhere pretty much, besides you upgraded your linebacker, besides edge rusher. So the Bears are very much an improved team. And of course, you've got your quarterback who is the ultimate X factor, where if he makes that leap that quarterbacks do going into year 3, year 2 of the same offense, then the sky's the limit, right? And there is a scenario, a very, solid scenario where the Bears can win the division. I'm not saying they will, but they can. And if they win the division, obviously you're a playoff team, all right? And so to me, the Vikings, the Packers, the Bears, the Lions, kind of feel like they all fit in the same shoe and no one's really separating. Yeah, fine, you put the Lions, slightly at the top. They have the best odds. But after that, it's like, I don't know. I don't really think anybody scares me in the division. And so if Fields makes that leap, man, it's going to be scary here. And we've seen all the time in the NFL, teams go from last to first, worst to first. Happens all the time. And the perfect example, which to me could be the team we're looking at in terms of that ceiling type, the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? Go from getting the number 1 overall pick, having the worst record, to the next year, they're a playoff team. They win a playoff game. And so, getting back to answering the question here, what is the ceiling for the Chicago Bears? Well, we're starting at wild card, right? We're starting at making a wild card spot, which would be not win the division, but get in as a wild card team, which certainly I talked about in the NFC, very much possible. And then after that, if you want to go a little bit higher, it's win the division, which I think certainly there's a chance they can do that. And then the top upmost ceiling here, to me, is the Bears win a playoff game, like the Jaguars did. That's the ceiling, all right? They win a playoff game. They're not a championship contender. They're not a title contender. They're not going to win the Super Bowl, although I'd love that, and so would other Bears fans. So realistically speaking, the ceiling is capped at a playoff win, which would be incredible. I'm not predicting this. I'm just saying the best possible scenario is a playoff win. That's the scenario. Because I'm telling you, I'm going to read off the teams here again. You tell me which team here you say, oh yeah, they are definitively 1,000% better than the Bears. Right? Again, we're taking out the Eagles and 49ers and Cowboys. So the other teams that you could say, hey, they are totally better than the Bears. The Commanders, the Bucks, the Panthers, the Falcons, the Giants, the Packers, Lions, Vikings, Cardinals, Rams, Seahawks. Folks, that's the division. Saints, that's the conference, excuse me. Who scares you here? Yeah, you can make the argument, right? I'll make the argument. Saints are probably better. Giants are probably better. Vikings probably better. Lions are better. Packers are better. But, are you going to go ahead and say it's not even close? There's no scenario where the Bears can be better? I don't think so. It's only those 3 other teams. And even with the Cowboys, I don't see that. So it's really 2 teams. That's the ceiling. So it's fun to think about, and I'd love to see that, because last year that happened because their quarterback, the Jaguars quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, made that leap into elite quarterback level, and they won a playoff game. Same thing here. Justin Fields makes that leap to elite quarterback level, and the Bears win a playoff game. Boy, would that be something. So excited to see how things shake out here, and I'm so hyped for the season. So let me know what you guys think. What is the ceiling for the Bears according to you in your mind? Let me know down below as always. Thanks for watching.